Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Everything Actually with me, your host, Ashley Fisher. Not gonna lie, this is probably my third time trying to record this episode. I don't know if I feel very organized about it, but I did just want to make this a 10-15 interactive episode. So, what this is all about is creating your dream life and discovering what you want and how to get it. As simple as that. And my first anecdote for this is people say, I want to be rich. Okay. How rich do you want to be? I don't know. How rich do you want to be? I don't know. All right, why do you want to be rich? I don't know. I just want to be rich. Okay. So, the issues with all of this is you need to see what you want, why you want it, to uncover if you really want it. So, I'll get into the interactive part is I'm just going to be asking you questions about different aspects of your life. So, you could even write it out so that you have a more concrete idea of it to look back on and track. So, with my money example that I just gave, how I'm saying people, I want to be rich. The things that you should be asking yourself is, how rich? How much money? Does that look like $10K in your savings account? Does that look like you own 2 mansions? What does that look like? In addition to, what does that look like for you? Okay, when you get $10K in your bank account, how will that make you feel? Are you going to feel more relaxed because you don't need to stress about rent? And what would that change in your life? Which is pretty much the same question. Because imagine that you're like, okay, you have 10K, an additional 10K income every single month. How does that make you feel? I'm sure somebody's like, I'm stressed. I don't need 10K. I don't know. Or if somebody's like, I really do not need an extra 10K every month. I would just like an extra 1K so that I'm more comfortable. I don't need to focus on my finances as much. Not everybody in the world wants to be swimming in money. Maybe it causes more issues when you have to file your taxes. I don't know. Maybe it's going to change your tax bracket and you're like, okay, wait, now that's too much for me. I don't know. So, that was just an easy, basic example for the money situation. So, and I'll be giving more questions a little further along, but I've been reading a manifestation book, and, let me get it. One sec. Okay. Oof. It is called The Practical Simple Guide to Creating the Life You Want, Manifesting by Chris Ferraro. I've read it before. This is my second time reading through it, and I've highlighted and annotated it essentially, which I love doing with books because now if I let somebody else borrow it, they can see exactly what I thought while I was reading it. So now it's kind of a journal, even though it's a book. That's just a little fun thing about me. So, I'm reading this book, and there's certain points which I wish I picked out a specific example, but it just makes so much sense to me. Like, everything that I'm reading in this book, it's like, oh, well, if you desire something, go after it, and if it doesn't work, it's because it wasn't meant to be, and something else better is waiting for you. But I'm kind of like, well, yeah. Like, I feel like if I'm working for something and it's not happening, that's kind of easy to just be like, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. And then something better does happen. I think it's, to me, so obvious because I've read it the first time around and have lived it and experienced everything that they talk about. And I'm like, yeah, duh, that makes sense. I can just create my dream life which I'll go into more, but to just give you a split second on why I think that, it's like, okay, if I want to live a more relaxing life and wake up at a certain time and go to the gym every day and eat certain foods, it's like, okay, who's stopping me? Who is stopping me from going to the gym? Who is stopping me from changing my mindset so that I do have a more relaxing day? Why am I not eating the food that I want? You know, like, to me, if I just sit there and I'm like, okay, I want my day to involve this, this, and this. What is stopping me from making that happen? And the same with you guys. What is stopping you from having the best day every single day? What stops me is that I don't think about it. I don't know what I want my day-to-day to look like. And this was my issue, or is my issue still, with everything. I don't know what kind of relationships I'm looking for. I was going to say I didn't know what kind of job I was looking for, but now I've reflected and I was like, oh, I want a job where I'm talking to people all day, where I'm on my feet, where it feels like it goes fast, where I'm moving all day. And I have that now, and I'm like, okay, that's what I wanted, that's what I knew I wanted, and that's how I got it. There's a quote that's like, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Which is so true. It's like, let's say I'm looking for a boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, I want a boyfriend. Okay, what do you want him to look like? Well, I don't care. I don't have a type. Okay, how do you want him to treat you? Good. I want him to be nice. Okay, what does your relationship look like? We talk every day and hang out every now and then. Based on that, my Prince Charming can come along and I'd have no idea. Because I'm looking for a guy who talks to me and is nice to me. Okay, so anybody. You're gonna go for anybody. So now the universe, God, replace that with whatever you believe in, is gonna give you anybody. Because he's like, okay, you didn't ask for what you wanted, so you're gonna get this and this and this. Because I'm just guessing at this point what you want. Yeah, that is, if you take one thing away from this episode, you need to get clear on what you want. You can't just say, oh, I want a boyfriend. You need to know what you're looking for. Same exact thing with a job. Same exact thing with your routine, with your looks. If you're like, oh, I want to be prettier. Okay, what does that look like to you? Do you even know? And I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little like snappy. It's because this needs to go through my blonde head. Actually, I'm looking a lot more brunette in these videos, not gonna lie. But yeah. So, let me see. I'm gonna hop into the questions momentarily. This is just a few notes before the questions, which I believe was in the last recording I made. I don't think I even mentioned it this episode yet, so I'll just kind of skim past it. So, we create our lives. We decide what job we work, where we live, and who we talk to. And not to go on a tangent about that, but it's like, who told you that you need to hate your job? That you have to hate your 9 to 5? And a little disclaimer, because I don't want to sound ignorant, so I'll address it. I understand that some people have financial situations where you can't just leave your job that you hate. However, you're not stuck in that job forever. Start taking tiny steps towards leaving somehow. Nobody is trapped in anything that you do, from my perspective. So, and then I gave the example of, like, imagine that you're an avatar. Not like the avatar, but like a, you know, in video games, how you have an avatar that you, like, dress up and stuff. That's kind of how I feel like it would be fun to live your life. If you're like, okay, now I get to pick out my outfit. Now I get to decorate my room however I want. Now I get to live my day and do this and that. An honorable mention, I saw something that was like, this girl, I don't know if it's when she's feeling sad or whatever it is, but on TikTok, she was like, imagine, you have to get into it. Imagine that the older version of you time traveled back to how old you are right now. So me personally, imagine that I'm 80 years old and I'm with my husband and the grandkids and whoever, and I'm still gonna be like, whatever, grandma, but I'm not gonna be who I am now at 22 years old in Tampa, Florida. So imagine if 80-year-old me is like, I'm gonna go back to when I was 22 years old in Tampa, Florida, and I'm gonna do this and this and this and this. And that's my day-to-day right now. So instead of in 60 years, 58 years, being like, oh my gosh, I was living the life back then, I wish I can go back, I'm gonna live the life now and be grateful for it. So, yeah. I said the power of scripting is so huge, so literally, you write how you want your life to be in present tense. So I'd say, I wake up at 7 a.m. feeling refreshed and not tired at all. I'm excited for my day, and I jump out of bed looking forward to going to work in an hour. Then I use the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and then I go to the kitchen and make my favorite breakfast, a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich. So, and then what is stopping me from living that? I can literally wake up, tap into that mindset of I'm so excited and grateful for a new day, brush my teeth, wash my face, and then make that breakfast. If that is my ideal morning, I can easily do that tomorrow morning. So, I wrote, for example, write out your perfect morning and night routine, and what is stopping you from doing that. So this is the interactive section of the pod. This actually might be one of the shortest podcast episodes up to date. But I hope that it's very tangible, that you can take things that I'm saying from this, get motivated from it, and start thinking about your life. So, work-wise, what job do you want? What kind of setting is it in? How do you want to feel at work? What kind of responsibilities do you want? What kind of people do you want to be surrounded by? What do you want to wear? What hours and days do you work? Rumi just got home. Okay, and then moving right on into relationships and friendships. What kind of relationship am I looking for? What kind of person am I looking for? How do I want them to make me feel? What kind of personality do I want them to have? How important do I want this relationship to be to me? So that one was more of like a love romantic relationship, and then these are similar questions for friendships. What kind of friend am I looking for? How do I want them to make me feel? What is the most important aspect of this relationship to me? What do I want them to mean? What do I want to mean to them? What level of intimacy am I looking for? So, the key themes in all of these are you need to get very specific on the type, but also how it makes you feel, like how you'll feel after you get this. Pretty much highlighting your why to wanting this. 2 more. Looks and personality. How do I want people to perceive me? How would that make me feel better? How do I want people to describe me? What do I want to dress like? And how do I want to make people feel? Another key of this is getting into those feelings to manifest it. So if you want to make somebody feel happy, you want them to laugh a lot, and then you make them laugh, how does that make you feel? Now I feel good about myself. Now I feel happy. And then just imagine that, embody that. And then for my day, how do I want to feel when I wake up? When I go to bed? What do I want to get accomplished? What is one thing that can make my day more enjoyable? What is one thing I can do to work towards my goals? So that wraps up that section of it. And the steps are, so this is wrapping up the entire episode in a few concepts. The steps are, number 1, get clear on what you want. The ways to do this are A, uncovering why you want it, and B, how it will make you feel / what will change when you accomplish that. Number 2, do research and ask yourself, how will I get there? Let's say for your looks, you want to have this certain form. Do research on what you should be eating, how you should be working out, how often you should be working out. Get so specific and make a plan. Number 3, then start incorporating it into your day-to-day life. You should always be asking yourself, what did I do to work towards this today? Let's say you're at a not good job and you're trying to leave that job. Instead of every day saying, I hate this job, I want to leave. Make a plan and at least spend 15 minutes every day on LinkedIn looking for a new job. That is something that is slow progress is still progress. Okay? So, to sum it up, if you don't know where you want to go, any path will take you there. Get clear on what you want. Find a way to track your progress and feelings and get to your dream life. Because I realize what I'm doing now is aligning more and more with what I really want. Yeah, I think that was a little final note that I had on here, that I do think my day-to-day has become very routine, and I always thought I was the kind of person that preferred to not have a routine. However, now I literally wake up, do a very unhealthy morning routine, which I would like to change, go to work, come home, I usually just clean, do a few things, go to the gym, come home, eat, and then this is my hangout time, which is why I'm recording a pod. I'll shower, fun stuff. All right, guys. Sorry I got a little awkward 5 minutes ago. I usually record alone, but you know what? Progress. All right, sexies. So thank you for listening. Connect on socials if you so desire. All of that is in the details below. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and thank you for everything, actually. Love you, sexies. Bye.